Government says the preliminary assessment of agricultural losses due to floods in KwaZulu-Natal amounts to more than 500 million rand. Agriculture and Rural Development Minister Thoko Didiza says that all sectors, including fresh produce, sugarcane and livestock farming, have been affected. She addressed agriculture stakeholders and the media in Durban. Didiza and senior officials are receiving reports from various representatives of the agricultural sector. Well, for a little bit more on this, I'm now joined by the African Farmers Association of South Africa's president, AJ Mthembu. Thanks very much indeed for joining us, Mr. Mthembu. What is your assessment of what's happening on the ground as a result of these floods?
Peter, thank you so much for allowing us to be part of your program this evening. And indeed, we're coming through with heavy hearts, having seen the devastating effect of the floods in the province of KZN. Firstly, maybe before we go on, maybe let's take this moment to pass our condolences to the affected families, because for us, it's just a number. For us, it's just a report. But there are families, as we speak now, who are in such a difficult position. And maybe before I even go there, maybe one also needs to appreciate the intervention by the state president in the national state of disaster so that we could be able to access help with immediate effect. Now, coming back to the question that you have posed, we have never seen such a devastation in the farming community after a long time. We've been through a lot lately, but we never thought we'd be coming to this level, especially the black emerging farmers. A lot of them probably will never be back again to do the business because there's been a soil erosion. They won't even have a place where they will be able to continue with their livelihood. Farmers have been affected badly, firstly in their area of operation at the farms. The farms, they were not able, this was a winter crop season. We're starting to plant for the winter. And when it started trying to recover, especially in KZN, there's still an issue of foot and mouth disease that people are still struggling to battle with. But then this blow came in. The statement that says it never rains, but it pours, it is no longer a statement to us or a saying, but it is literal as it did just that. Just to give you the impact that we have received. In fact, even the estimation by the minister that we are looking at about 500,000, it's only 500 million. It's only based on the current situation. But as we are here, we are continuously receiving reports, receiving information of the damage that has happened in different areas. In other areas, we are not even able to access that because the infrastructure has completely collapsed. We are not even able to access to those rural farmers where they are currently operating. As a result that we don't have infrastructure at all. I mean, the infrastructure to the farms was in a state of collapse in any way, but now it has completely been washed away. So the impact starts from the farming community at their production plants, at the farms. The manure, the fertilizers have been washed away. The sheds where chicken have been flooded, chicken washed away, sheep and goat washed away. So the infrastructure where members were operating with the list that they've received or the list that they've had to put up the infrastructure, it was just dashed hopes. For those who are into crops, including the sugarcane, as we've indicated, sugarcane is underwater. All the plants that people were planting for winter is underwater. So the challenge that we are faced with as farmers is that there will be an issue of food security because the production, most of other farmers, especially the communal farmers, they were producing food for themselves, then sell the excess. So all that opportunity for them to have food has since disappeared.
From what you're saying, it sounds as if the emerging farmers were more vulnerable than perhaps the larger commercial farms to this kind of shock.
You know, what makes that to be, and as much as we are all in the farming community or the farming sector, but the level of impact is different from different levels of farmers. The majority of our members, the black farmers in particular, emerging, they don't even have an insurance for their crops against anything. So as we are facing with this challenge, it's a challenge that we are only counting only from the government to be able to assist us so that we are able to shake the dust and be able to move forward. In fact, you are correct, the devastation is at a different level. The most vulnerable are the most hit hard by these floods. And we are hoping that the intervention of the government, as today, you mentioned earlier, Thoko Didiza, our minister, together with our MEC, Bongi Stole Mloi, together with the deputy minister, they were in the province to do the assessment and see how best they can intervene. And at least one thing that we managed to come out of in that meeting was the establishment of the steering committee, so that there is inclusivity of the organizations in the decision of how do we go about helping people, so that we make sure that help goes where it is desired, help goes where it is most needed. And we appreciate the fact that as much as we are the victim in this case, but organizations, farmer organizations, have been given a space and an opportunity for them to come and participate in making sure that we bring in the list of people and their needs in their respective places. Therefore, I would therefore make this appeal to our members, even some of those who does not even belong to our organization, AFASA, as normally known, African Farmers of South Africa. They might belong to other organizations, but what is important is that the help will be coming through the organization. It will therefore be important for people to make sure that they are found within those spaces so that they are able to receive the help that is being put together at this point in time.
This weather event is a major disruption, but if one looks at the story of black farmers in the country, there were issues even before this disaster. And I wonder, is this an opportunity to address everything once and for all?
Peter, that is a good question. The thing is, as I've indicated earlier on, that they say it never rains, but it pours. We were still licking the wounds of the challenges that we are faced with. As black farmers in particular, two major issues remain the thorny issue in our operational space. The issue of land remains a major problem for us. The issue of water, access to water. I mean, that is why we issued a statement to support our government to appeal against the decision that water needs to belong to a certain cluster of people as opposed to belong to everybody in this country who must have access to water. So our problem have become a compounded problem. When you were still trying to deal with the practical basic needs so that you survive, even those basic needs, the little soil that we had, the little water that we have. You can imagine at this point in time, the water that we've been calling for, but it came in a way that we're not expecting, not in a way of a flood. We needed water so that we are able to water our plants, but it did not water our plants. It washed the very little that we have. And as I've also indicated, the impact will be different. I mean, white counterparts, they will be lodging their claim. They will be calculating the loss so that they see to what extent are they able to recoup part of the losses that they've incurred. But for black farmers, we don't even have such because we've been struggling with a lot of issues within the sector. We've been struggling with the market access so that when we've got the produce, we are able to sell those produce. We've been struggling with the issue of accessing funding so that we are able to produce the quality that we want to produce. So whilst as if that was not enough, when we're still struggling to get to that one, currently, Peter, we are working on the agricultural master plan, which its objective for us is inclusive growth. In the economy of the country, we want to be included so that as the economy of agriculture is growing, we are party to that. We wanted to set aside in terms of a transformation agenda so that the transformation happens in real time. Those are the issues that we're still dealing with as African farmers in particular. As if that was not enough, then a heavy blow hit us so hard with these floods.
Mr. Mthembu, we wish you and the farmers across the country, particularly in KwaZulu-Natal, the best going forward, and let's hope that this assistance comes quickly and in great number. Thank you so much indeed for joining us tonight.
Thank you so much, Peter, and thank you so much for our listeners.
Thank you. All right, that's Mr. Mthembu, who's the president of the African Farmers Association of South Africa, speaking to us about the plight of black farmers in particular that have been devastated by the floods. And he says that some farms actually have disappeared, entire crops damaged and underwater, particularly sugarcane amongst others. We're going to take a break.